Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga-Texas construction update video.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Giga-Texas. It's the week after the big shareholders meeting, and what a meeting it was. There was so much going on, and I was fortunate enough to be there, and I tried to capture as much as I possibly could and share with you. Now, speaking of which, if you take a look at my video that I put out the day after the shareholders meeting, I give you a lot of views on the ground around Giga-Texas and inside, and plus I give you kind of a feel of what it was like to be at the event. So I would make sure you would check out this particular video and get a good chance to see some stuff about Giga-Texas that you don't normally see with the drone flights. And in addition to that, it's kind of funny, but my nephew and I were at the event and we decided to wear Texas shirts, and as we were taking a picture of ourselves here right where I'm standing, there was an AP photographer and took some photos of us doing that as well. We made the news all over the world with this image, so it's pretty cool to have just a small part of the event and be shared in that way. So that's pretty cool as well. Now, I also met a ton of people, and it was just almost overwhelming, just the number of people that were here that I got a chance to talk with from all over the world. And I did that over at the Welcome Center and in the parking lot and also inside Giga-Texas. So for everybody I got a chance to see, you know, it was great to see you. For those I was unfortunately not able to see, I'm sorry, but hopefully on the next event. During the shareholders meeting, there was some news items that I covered, one of which is the Cybertruck. And the Foundation series is coming to an end at the end of this month, and then starting next month, they'll be to make the non-Foundation series. Now, I've had some people ask me, what does that mean about their orders for Foundation series? I believe that if you already have the orders in, those will be fulfilled, but starting July 1st, you won't be able to order the Foundation series any longer. Also, sort of related to that, but there is a new recall out on the Cybertrucks. It has to do with the wiper motor. I don't know how long that is going to affect production or shipping, but it was busy here again today on this early Monday morning. Another thing is I got a chance during that shareholders meeting to sign the Retail Investor Army banner that Tesla Boomer Mama, also known as Alexander Mers, was able to bring, and everybody got a chance to sign. For those of you who don't know, she kind of spearheaded the effort to get the retail shareholders around the world the ability to vote for all of the measures that were put up for shareholder vote during the shareholders meeting. Now, another thing that I did learn during the shareholders meeting, and I did a standalone video here about it, was the change in the boring tunnel operations. In fact, the boring tunneling is complete now, and they are dismantling the site on the west side and finishing up the installation on the inside of the extension, and you'll see that through the video today. Now, a couple other things that I do want to say before we get into the video today. First, I got a chance in conjunction with Ellie in Space to interview the Polaris Dawn mission commander, Jared Isaacman, and I put a video out along with Ellie putting a video out. This is mine here with what you see on the screen, and then this is Ellie's. I'll put the links to both of these in the video description as well. It's really great to hear from him. And then the last thing that is coming up, when I was down at Starbase for the 4th launch of the Starship, I got a chance to meet several members of Astroport. It's a company down in San Antonio that is building the machinery and the technology to build on the moon, specifically to make a landing pad with the lunar regolith. I'll be visiting them on Thursday, and I can't wait to put that video out as well. So that's enough for the intro and kind of the recap over the last week and what I have coming up. For now, let's get into the drone. Let's take a look at what is going on here at Giga-Texas today.
If you would like to support my efforts, please consider using these links, which will be in the video description. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons on my YouTube video, as this helps as well. Thank you. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga-Texas. This early morning here at Giga-Texas, I wanted to start off on the far southwest corner. Take a look at this clearing that you see coming into view. Also, it looks like excavation is now underway again. They have changed the grade level here multiple times. Also, it looks like they're going to eventually get rid of that pond and then probably have this entire area flattened out for some future construction. It's a good view here of the contractor parking lot. This is the extreme southwest corner of Giga-Texas's property. On the right, you can see River Road that extends over underneath the highway and to the south end of the factory, and then continues over towards that new intersection with Robotic Avenue near the multi-level parking garage. This is a good view of all of the contractor vehicles and the shuttle buses that wait to take them over to their job sites, and also a good look here at this new parking lot kind of in this triangular shape. We also see quite a bit of materials being stored here now on this side of the lot. Most of the grade work is completed, as well as conduit, most likely for lighting, perhaps for some chargers as well. So another site that I continue to watch periodically to see what happens, and it just right now is being used as material storage. We see the other material storage yard in the upper left, and that's always having quite a bit of materials brought in and changing out as that's used in the factory construction. The West Warehouse on Wheels is very busy. You can see some of the yard trucks picking up the trailers and taking them over towards the main factory. And this is a good view across the highway of how the main factory looks this morning. As I reported in my standalone video during the shareholders meeting, the boring tunneling operations here at Giga-Texas are, at least for the foreseeable future, coming to an end. The regular tunnel liners that we just passed over are just some excess, and on the left what we are seeing is the roadway liners. That gives the drivable surface on the interior of the tunnel, and those are being installed now. We'll also have to see the gantries pulled out of the tunnel, and those will be transported off-site as well, if not already taken off-site. And here we see some of the forklifts with the belt rolls. This is part of that belt cassette, which is no longer on site. That has been dismantled and transported back to the Bastrop site, where the boring company has its headquarters, along with the Proof Rock 3. This is where that belt cassette used to be. The spoils bin is directly underneath the drone. And of course, the 3 silos for that grout plant is, they're still here. They're getting ready to take those apart. At the bottom of the screen, we can see more of the items that are part of that conveyor belt system being stacked for transport. And they're starting to break down some of these trailers and some of the other items around this area. Now, we do still see the thrust ring and that ducted fan for the ventilation system in place, and of course the exposed portions of the tunnel right now. What they're going to end up doing both here and in the extension, once all of this equipment is removed, and you can see some of that going on here with the liner trucks. They're going to have to build the kind of the facing structure for both the entry and exit for the tunnel, and I would assume that that would mean that they're going to have some sort of utilities and probably a ventilation system for that tunnel as well. And we've seen some similar kind of structures over at Las Vegas for the loop that has been constructed there. So as I depart the boring company site, we'll come over here, take a look at the outbound lot. This newly paved area has had all the markings, and we see the fence for security has been erected around this site. As we continue to move towards the north, we can get a sense of the trench work that has been completed, and they filled in with some of the asphalt on the left-hand side of the screen, the tents that are doing the processing for vehicles, and of course the supercharger station here on the south end of the end of line. And as I mentioned in the intro, with the recall on the Cybertrucks, I'm not sure exactly how that is affecting the production at the moment. This is early Monday morning, so it's hard to really gauge what the production looks like at the time of my drone flight. But what we can see is that the outbound lot does not have a ton of vehicles. It has a lot of Cybertrucks, but not so many of the Model Ys. And then this expansion lot to the north has been almost completely emptied out of both the Cybertrucks and the Model Ys. So we'll continue to watch and see as we get close to the end of the quarter how the production continues here at Giga-Texas. It's a good view from the north side of the end-of-line facility, looking across the entire outbound lot and that activity level that I saw here this morning. I'm going to pivot the drone to look back towards the north. We see this clearing. A lot of the vegetation is growing back, so that implies that at least for right now, there's not a lot of work that's going to be continued in this area, that they have flattened that grade with the two tents and a lot of the materials here and some of the trailers. This material staging yard continues to be busy along with some of those workshops that are in amongst some of those trailers. As I cross over this north-south road, on the left is some of the material, steel, and the HVAC fan units from Evapco, plus some of the ducting fans and ductwork, plus some of the tanks. You also see those Evapco fan units and bases. There is a lot of them here, so this is going to be added to some new construction, whether on the main factory itself or something new. It's certainly possible it's related to the south end construction, but as we will see a little later in the video, the cooling plant, that structural platform, is now getting its own fans installed, and we'll see that here shortly. This is a good view also of this material staging with all of the steel work. There is a lot here, more than what would be needed for that south end, since most of the steel work has been completed. So this looks like they perhaps may be gearing up for some new construction. So it'll be something that we watch for in the coming weeks and months. But let's get ready to cross back over the highway and take a look at what is going on the main site today. Flying south along the west side, we see that white truck departing on the right and that blue bin on the left. This is recycling of excess materials from the 4680 battery cell production. The blue bin has those canisters that form the outer shell of the 4680s, and for some reason we've been seeing a lot of those being recycled recently. This clearing where all the concrete's been removed continues to have slow work on the ground. However, next to that opening with a green temporary wall, we see some scaffolding, so perhaps there's going to be some additional work being done here in the near future. So something we'll continue to monitor. As I continue to fly to the south, over on the right-hand side, I see some workers possibly doing some landscaping, but this is also in the area where we've seen some pumping of the underground water-treated pipes in this particular area, but most of that work seems to be completed. The Model Y exit point here from the factory, this is the first point where they come out of the factory after they've been completed. They are lined up here, and then they get the drivers to take them over to the outbound lot. Now, I know with the boring tunnel operations completing and the tunnel on the south is for the Cybertrucks, some people were wondering if there would be another tunnel here for the Model Ys. In the near future, I would say that that is not going to happen. Now, the main entrance looks pretty good. It looks like they just cleaned it off. Again, you can see some water going towards the street. That was where the main event took place. And of course, this is where we had the display of vehicles. And of course, also the Cybertruck pulling the trailer that was showing off the Model Y. And that's been going all over the country for that kind of an advertising campaign, if you want to consider it that way. Next to this ramp, we see some more materials going into the General Assembly South portion. This is part of General Assembly 2 that supports the Cybertrucks. And speaking of which, we see more Cybertrucks on the right in the staging yard, deliveries on the left, and Cybertrucks exiting the factory at this point in time. Again, with the recall, I'm not sure how that's affecting the production, but at this stage in the morning, this is pretty normal to start seeing the Cybertrucks exiting at this point. Of course, that exit will be replaced with the tunnel once that is completed. Here's a great view of the south extension, all of the concrete wall panels that are defining that new window line. As I zoom in, a good view at some of the mezzanine levels, some of the walls that are being installed now with those yellow panels. And those types of panels, either yellow or green, have been used all throughout Giga-Texas during its construction. Good view of more of the materials. Looks like some HVAC ducting as well. And of course, with the wall panels going up and the windows, it's making it a little bit more challenging to see inside. Also with the sun and its particular angle. And that's why we're getting a little bit of banding in the video. It's just the sun filtering through the propellers of the drone. So I'm going to maneuver the drone around to try to minimize that effect. On this southwest corner, good view of this, what looks like another entranceway with the glass around that opening. And also we see some deliveries, some of the glass waiting for installation on the trailers here in the middle of the screen. And of course, this is also where the workshops and offices for the glass company is located during this entire process of installing all of the glass. And as I turn back here, I'm going to zoom in and give you a view into this open area. Looks like mostly deliveries, equipment, and continued work to start installing all the items needed to make this part of the factory functional for its intended purpose. Now we do have these 3 tunnels that exit on the south side. All of them now have the screw type piers installed, and all the perimeter grade beam has been cut out and removed. So they are preparing this for what looks like ramps, and with the screw type piers, reasonably heavy items that will be going through this area. Now I did have some viewers that wanted me to point out that the perimeter grade beam, when it was being removed, had some holes in it. I was speculating that that was used for the cutting process, but they wanted me to let everybody know that it's because of forklifts to take out the concrete panels. So hopefully that will make some of my viewers happy by making that correction. And of course, we saw the 3 tunnel openings and those screw type piers in the apron section, which will probably be loading ramps. As we come around the east side, a good view of the glasswork on the left, plus the open section with the temporary stairs and the cooling plant directly ahead. I am going to turn back towards the building and zoom in. I want you to take a look at the cooling pipes that are being installed in the ground. These are absolutely enormous. And this goes to the cooling that is going to be required for the supercomputer cluster that's going to be in this area. And these pipes will connect over to this chiller plant or cooling structural platform, and that will be providing a lot of the cooling for those supercomputers. We see on the roof the at least 2 of the fan units have been delivered and moved up for installation. We also see that all 6 of the round opening sections have been completed, and with that fiber reinforced plastic pipe work for the entire superstructure that will make it both strong and lightweight. And as I bring the drone up more, this is a great view of the fan units on the left, some of the enclosures that are stacked nearby waiting for installation, and the 6 cutouts that will serve for these fan units. We also see some of the exterior panels being installed. And those 4 water tanks, most likely those are used for water for that cooling system. A good view here at the east side of the stamping machine structure on the ground and all of the activity that is going on. And I'll zoom back out as we go up over the parapet wall onto the roof section. I did notice that there has been some progress with this opening on top of the body in white structure. More of the grate materials and also the ducting has been installed, plus the outline for where more of the ducting will be installed is clearly visible. And as we've discussed on numerous videos, this is permitted as a cooling unit for a server room that is in the body in white section of the factory. So I'm going to bring the drone up. We'll cross back over the power lines and get a good view here of the southeast side where River Road is going next to the ponds, the pond reshaping, and of course the multi-level parking garage as it looks today. Now, the last couple of days we've seen landscaping being done around the ground of the actual structure, particularly just putting in dirt and preparing it for probably plants. We also see all of the road work and the markings that have been done. And just overall, it's getting more and more of a finished look. The intersection between River Road on the left and Robotic Avenue on the right looks like there's still more earthwork that needs to be done before that can be completed. But a good overall view here of Robotic Avenue underneath the drone, a new security station on the bottom of the screen, and of course how the lot for the contractors look today. Now, another thing I wanted to show you, I'll bring the drone down here, is the intersection that is being completed for the extension of Robotic Avenue to the south and the road continuing towards Giga-Texas. Looks like it will also continue under the drone back to the east. And we can see some of the traffic lights have already been put into place as well. As I fly up over this water detention pond, a good view of the wind tunnel. A Cybertruck looks like it's hanging out here, the green generator trailer and the Rainmaker on the left, and a good look at the number of Cybertrucks on this temporary lot that used to be the testing and calibration lot. I'm not sure, it's hard to tell for sure with the inventory changes here, but it does not look like it has changed much over the last couple of days. As we get closer to the east main entrance or secondary entrance, I wanted to show you these receiving doors. The one on the left is getting a cutout on top of it. This is reminiscent of kind of a rubbish chute system that we see on the west side of the building, and that would serve the second floor for handling garbage and disposable items. We're still waiting for more of the concrete to be poured in that one section with the new receiving doors next to these poles. And of course, more of the cutting through the walls for receiving doors on the left. We're going to see more of those here soon around the casting machine structure. The foundation here for the baghouse filtration system has had all of the concrete poured for that reinforced foundation. Some of the formwork is being removed on the south end, and it's still in the curing process on the north end. We can also start seeing some rebar coming up out of the foundation and forming new structures, one on the northeast corner, and then we see many mounts sticking up here where the workers are, and that will most likely be for equipment. We also see a metal frame being installed, or at least assembled, and that will probably be raised vertical and form some sort of the framework for this baghouse filtration system. More work here on this clearing as well. You can see the truck at work, and this is reminiscent of what we saw in the area where the slab has already been poured, and that would be used for screw type piers. So we'll watch and see if that in fact happens. As I come around the northeast corner, a couple things I want to show you. The work on the conduit continues, although it's still just this small pit, and that will extend all the way up to the electrical switch yard. And on the left-hand side of the screen, we see that large receiving door that has been cut into the side of the casting machine structure, and it looks like that may actually be getting taller too. Either that or it's a doorway. It was kind of hard to tell. And of course, they are reconfiguring these 3 receiving doors, now turning them into 5. As I continue to fly up by the paint shop, see all of these racks. These are used to move the various bodies around. I zoomed in because I wanted to show you that there are different kinds here too, and different shapes. I'm also trying to maybe see if there's any changes beyond Model Y and Cybertrucks that might indicate that they're doing some development work inside for the next vehicles, which are expected sometime towards the end of the year. At the 4680 battery cell production portion of the factory on the north end, we just see that the temporary platform on the right has been removed, more work being done on the inside here. And during the shareholders meeting, when I was driving by with the bus, and I showed video of this in my standalone video, it looks like they are doing a lot of walls on the inside. Drywall is the next big thing that we should see, and in fact we did see some drywall being delivered. This is where the conduit crosses the parking lot, this landscaped area and Tesla Road, and where it comes up to this area, then it works its way over towards the south side of the electrical switch yard. But there's not a whole lot of activity over there, and I will show you that here shortly. A lot of these planters were used for the shareholders day, and they were moved back here for temporary storage. And the Megapack site fully operational, and as such we don't see a lot of changes here, and that is what we would expect. As I come up over the power lines, I'll give you a view of that south end of the electrical switch yard. As I mentioned, not a lot of activity here, but all of those covered manholes that you see are where the conduit connects all the way down to the cash machine structure. Good view here looking across the switchyard back to Giga-Texas and how this section of the site looks today. So let's take a quick tour towards the north across this open field and the Martin Marietta batch plant. We see the die shop and cathode building on the left, and I wanted to proceed much further to the north so that we can take a look at that large field that's being used for a lot of items that would be part of a production line. And well, let's take a look and see how this material looks today. Now they have some concrete put down on the ground. That's to help with the mud. And as I mentioned, all of those items on the left, most of these look like platforms and other items that are used for production lines. And of course, some more of the concrete on the right. And we're going to start seeing some larger red platforms and some additional concrete and some structures here. When you take a look all the way back to the factory, you get a good sense of just how far north we are. All of these ponds and hills are what's remaining of that sand and gravel mine. And what we see in front of us is the Lone Tree pasture. It's Lone Tree because there's only one tree in that entire area. We also know that this is where they come out and they do some Cybertruck test drives as well. The bottom left and along the left side of the screen is where eventually the new Harold Green Road will come through and then connect over to the highway in the middle of the property. As we fly over Lone Tree, it's a good view of how the rental equipment lot looks today. Also, some more of those concrete items that were broken up and moved here from the south end before the extension work was able to start. This is a good view also here of all of the rental equipment and the rental equipment maintenance shops. I did notice that this is an area where we're getting more of the earthwork, so this is kind of like hearkening back to the beginning of Giga-Texas with trucks and excavators and moving a lot of dirt. Now, I've noticed that a lot of this dirt is being transported back towards that south extension, is being used on the inside as they complete some of the ground slab work. This is more of the materials that are waiting for recycling. We do see some equipment on the bottom right, and we're still waiting for these bridge cranes and these silver kind of tank items to be moved inside either the cathode plant or the die shop. Pausing here, I wanted to show you this image. It was by Dan O'Neill. He works at the Tesla cathode plant. This is a gathering inside that north part where all those windows are. Got the arrow showing you where it is. It gives you a little bit of an insight of what it looks like inside that section looking out the window. So very cool, and a great team working over here at the cathode plant. On the west side, we see some of the fencing has been installed around this area. I still do expect paving throughout this location at some point, but right now still waiting for that to happen. Some of the materials waiting on the north side of the die shop for installation, and it's a good view of the chiller plant for the cathode plant. And we did see on my previous video some of the refilling of the nitrogen, so that suggests that the plant is doing something and it is operational to some degree, using up some of those commodities. Good view here of the crash test facility, some of the crash tested vehicles, and also that opening on the right into the cathode building. Now I did want to show you something that you might find interesting on the south end. We know about this dip tank, so let's take a look at it in action. Now that is used after crash testing in case there's a fire of some sort and they need to put it out. That was just during a test. So that'll bring to an end the video for today. I hope that you enjoyed what we were able to talk about during the intro, some of my upcoming events, and also what we saw in the video today. As always, thank you for your support. Take care.